Apologies everyone, I have actually been talking for the past 5 minutes and no one could hear me until Sean said on the stream, so thank you Sean. That was pretty good, wasn't it? So right, so hello everyone, welcome to the MLD Motogp Esports Tryouts, Day 2, Group 2. I'm commentating on my own today, as we did have Erin and Riley yesterday doing an amazing job for Group 1. So I just went, well, I'll go through it again for you all. It's just a run through the riders. We got Kalen, is a very experienced MotoGP and Ride 6 rider. George is also raced in KRPRC and SDPG for many seasons. Ross is a pretty new face within the league racing scene, I think. So racing for MLD Motorsports on Ride 6 in multiple classes. Same as Tom is racing for MLD Motorsports. His first GP league as well, I think. Finley's actually done some MotoGP league racing in the KRPRC Championship in Moto 2 and Moto 3. So some experienced riders on this grid today. And Willie Sham's also been in KRPRC and made some appearances in SDPG. With Zach as well, a new face in the league racing scene. So let's see see if Zach can make a name for himself as Harrison D as well. Very well-known name within the league racing scene, racing in SDPG, and he's done some KRPRC in the past. So, but the main man, well, not the main man, but the man I was expecting to be on pole by now is Henry Mack. So he's raced on MotoGP and Ride 6 for many seasons and always been pretty competitive. So he's definitely going to be one to look out for today if the pace can transfer over to the new game. So, as I say that, he's just tucked the front. But Kalen on pole position at the minute with a 15.6, so pretty decent lap from Kalen on the Aprilia. George in second actually with a 15.8, which is pretty good for the KTM. So this tryout is obviously for, if none of you watched yesterday, we did have 9 riders also as well yesterday. Well, 10. So we do have 26 riders signed up for season 1, and obviously you can only have two commentators and 20 riders. So with a 22 place grid slot, so it's definitely obviously it's all up for grabs. And Ross just jumped to the top of the timesheet to the 15.3, so the fastest we've seen so far tonight. I still think it's a couple of tenths off from yesterday's fastest. I think a couple of the riders just touched it in the 14s yesterday, but nonetheless, still a very good fast time on the Aprilia. Yeah, Sean, I just seen your comment there, mate. Definitely, the KTM's going pretty well tonight with George on board so far. I think George is the only one on board. Yeah, and Willie. So you got George and Willie Sham. George's actually done a 15. What's he done? A 15.8. So it's a pretty good time for the KTM. Doesn't seem to be the bike of choice. Well, the strongest bike of choice, but George clearly making it work. So Henry does jump to P3 with a 15.7. So Kaelan and Ross. Ross just I think that might have been Henry just diving up the inside of Willie. But Ross has actually lost time in that last sector as he comes across the line. Can he jump into the 14s? He comes across the line. Nope. But he does have one more lap. So there's Kaelan now. Tops the timesheet with a 15.2. So Henry Max actually red sector 1, and red sector 2. So can we see Henry be the first rider to jump into the 1 minute 14s tonight? As Tom jumps in front of Henry with a 15.7. So Tom on board the Honda has actually done a very competitive time. Well, for the Honda. So the Honda, arguably on paper the worst bike on the grid, but seems to suit Tom so far. Harrison just lost time in the last two sectors there. We keep an eye on Henry Mack as he does jump to the top of the timesheet with a 15 flat. Just 55 thousandths of a second from being in the 14s. So very, very good competitive time from Henry there. As we keep an eye on Ross now, he's actually coming into over the line. Can he jump into the 14s? He comes across the line. Yes, he can. 14.8. So brilliant time there from Ross, being the only rider so far into the 14. So we have Ross, Henry and Kaelan on the front row, Tom, George, Harrison lining up the second row, and Finley, Willie and Zach on the third row. So as we move to the grid now, we do see very close times so far. So hopefully the race will pan out very closely, and we'll see some good battling. Obviously, there's not much to really talk about so far because it's early days in the championship, and obviously we haven't got a confirmed calendar or a confirmed grid yet. But after the tryouts, then you might start to see some things on social media about teams and calendars and sign-ins. So obviously, all the team managers will be watching this tryout to offer some riders contracts. So this is what the tryouts were made for. It's just a place to prove yourself and just to show why you deserve to race in the championship and deserve to be on that team. So yeah, no worries, Sean, mate. It's no stress anyway. So right, so as we do move now to the grid, the marshals just waving the flags at the front and the back of the grid. As you see Ross line up on pole position for the first time, with Henry and Kaelan alongside him. You see the lights come on, and they're off, and we were away. Henry looked like he had a good jump off the line. Kaelan's just dropping back slightly as Ross just slots in between them. Down to turn 1, Henry does take the whole shot as Ross just slides in behind him. Tom's actually moving to third. Kaelan seems to have... Oh, no, he's just gone wide. So, Tom and Kaelan seem to be going at it straight away as Tom runs a little bit wide. He's in a little bit of a pack here, just trying to go up the inside of George. Oh, he does slide up the inside of George, just giving him a little nudge. As Ross, Caelan's just gone very, very wide. I think Caelan's actually gone, yeah, Caelan and seems to be Finley, no, Harrison Day in the gravel trap. So Zach's made a good start, making up a few places. See Tom in third place, making up one position with George just behind him, and Willie. So the two KTMs have had a brilliant start on this opening lap in Brazil, as George just dives up the inside of Tom. Could he make it stick? No, very, very wide, but he will get the run down the straight on the he does have the speed advantage over the Honda 2 on the KTM, so it is in the slipstream. Can he get close enough to turn one to make a pass? No, I don't think so. So Ross just looking to line up a move on Henry now. Can he slot up the inside on the fast turn 4? Up the inside. The sun's gone down in the background. Tom's just received an irregular overtake, so Tom is going to have to drop a position to George. Does have 2 laps to do so, so there's no rush. Ross still just sat behind Henry, didn't manage to. His rear steps out, coming into the final sector, to the ever so tricky turn 10 and turn 11. As George has just crashed out of P3, so George has just gone down, actually giving the position to Tom. Don't think Tom has managed to drop the position before George has gone down, so all benefits to Tom there. As does just rejoin in front of Harrison. Can Harrison get the run down to the straight? It's a very short track here in Brazil, so patience is key. Just waiting for the long straight to make a pass into turn 1. So Harrison does pull out to the side of George. Down to turn 1 we go. As he does just slide back up the inside of Harrison after running a little bit deep. So as we go back towards the front, Henry's still only 3/10 away from Ross. Oh, he's just passed. Well, that was weird. He's just made up 3/10 in one apex. So lovely pass there by Ross, as Henry just looks for a way back through, but can't slip through. Caelan now sets his eyes on the Honda man Tom on the Aprilia. Oh, someone's just gone down in the background again, I think. Hear the crash sound. Yep, I think it was Willie Sham. He's unfortunately gone down at turn 7, the left-hander. Henry's just going up the inside of Ross. Can Ross get the undercut onto the start-finish straight? Yes, he can. So as we just come across the line, start lap 4 and halfway through this race. Down to turn 1. Can Ross hold off on the brakes, or will Henry just chuck it up the inside? Looks like Ross holds the line very, very well. So does defend from Henry Mack. So Caelan has actually passed Tom now as well. So the two there's a bit of a rivalry between these two. If any of you actually watch SD Productions, there's a bit of a rivalry between these two. So this could be setting up for a really feisty battle. As Caelan just parks the bike into turn 6, but Tom, I think, will have the better drive into the tricky chicane. So can Tom just stick behind Caelan just for these next couple of corners and try and just get up the inside of him into turn 1? He does take a sweeping line. Caelan seems very deep there, as Tom will have the drive down into the last corner. So as we just jump on board with Caelan now, coming into the final corner. Tom just sticking behind him for the start finish. Or Caelan runs a bit deep. Tom, he's off the track. So Caelan does drop the position, as Finley's just gone down in the background. As we go on board with George, see Harrison Day right on the tail of George. So coming down to turn 1, can Harrison Day sneak up the inside of George? Yes, he can. He's very deep though, very deep, as George does slide back up the inside as expected. Kalen, I think he's held off from Tom. Yep, looks to be. So Tom now needs to try and fight back Kalen before we can try and break the gap. Jump back towards the front as Finley's picked up a long lap penalty in 7th place. Oh, George has just gone down after fighting. Oh, Ross just slides up the inside. Oh, he's lost the front. Just pushing a little bit too much on the inside curb. Made a lovely attempt at going up the inside of Henry for the lead there, but unfortunately does just clip the inside curb. And the curbs on this track are unfortunately like ice, especially on the front end at maximum lean angle. So unfortunately there Ross has gone down. Oh, as George has gone down again, so unfortunate for the KTM riders. Actually having a really good start to the race, getting up to P3, fighting for the podium spot, but unfortunately he has gone down. Oh, Kaelin's just dropped the front into turn 1 as well, so really fast crash there for Kaelin on the Aprilia. But that does give Tom some breathing room, and also Ross, so this is, Zach's just got, someone's gone down as well. Harrison Day and Zach have both gone down simultaneously, so but as I was saying, Tom does have some breathing room now to Kaelin behind, and Ross does have some room as well, just to bring the bike home. I don't think the gaps are close enough to close in unless any mistakes are made, so this is just going to be a race of, 2 laps of just keeping calm and bringing the bike home. So as we go back down the field now, Finley is only 1.5 seconds behind George, and George is only 1.5 seconds behind Harrison Day. So only 2 laps left. It's definitely possible by George. Finley's just closed in 2/10 there. Someone's gone down in the background. Willie Sham again, yeah. So as we jump on board the front wheel of Mr. Henry Mack into the just coming into the 2nd sector. Just coming into the 3rd sector, I should say. As Ross is... Oh, has Tom's gone down? I was just going to say, I thought I seen the gap to... the gap from Henry to Ross was huge, as George and Harrison battling it once again. Can Harrison make a pass on George into the... Oh, he just has a little twitch on the curb. He does brake a little bit earlier, trying to get a run through. Moving back towards the front, I did see the gap between Henry and Ross had increased, so I think Ross has made a little mistake somewhere, and unfortunately Tom went down, so that does allow Kaelin just to creep in ever so slightly. So just starting the final lap now is Henry Mack. Just coming around turn 1 for Tom, as Finley does pick up a 3-second penalty after failing to comply with his long lap penalty. So Henry with the fastest lap of the race now after Ross holding it for the last 6 laps. Henry's just broken the race lap record. So as George has just gone a bit deep and Harrison does slide up the inside, they make small contact. So can George try and get back? Oh, he just tries to go around the outside of Harrison Day. Just run a little bit wide onto the green paint. We'll get the cut back. Maybe now switch back towards the front as Henry is coming into the final corner to claim his first Motogp 26 victory in the tryouts here today. As we see, Tom has actually held off Kaelin. Can Kaelin make a pass over the line? I don't think he's close enough, but Tom is going to be very close over the line. Can Kaelin get Tom over the line? No. Tom does just manage to hold on to P3 after an amazing battle between these two. It's Harrison Day. Whoa! Massive contact there. after them both just swerving across the track into each other. So Henry Mack does take the win here in Brazil, with Ross and Tom rounding off the podium, with George, Harrison, Dave, Finley, Zach and Willie just coming across the line with the 2 long lap penalties. So after that really exciting race here, Henry actually broke the lap record on the last lap, so 15-1 from him, with Henry, Ross and Tom rounding off the podium, after Tom just clinching the final podium spot from Kalen. So as we do now wait for the lads just to change bikes, we can crack on with the next track at Brno. Right, so looks like we are ready, so let's try and get into the lobby at Brno. So right, so after that really good race 1, we now move into race 2 at Brno in the Czech Republic. So can we see, I think Kalen's actually on the KTM this race, so let's see what Kalen can do on the KTM, and I think Ross and Tom are actually on the Ducati, so very, very different styles of bikes for these lads. So Henry's actually coming out the pits last. I don't know if that's just a tactic, or George has actually gone on the Honda after going on the KTM last race, having a really good race, just unfortunately going down, I think, one too many times, just kind of ruined his race, but overall came over the line in a good position, and definitely has the potential to fight towards the front. But Kalen and Tom, absolutely brilliant racing all the way through. Just coming down to the final corner over the line for the final podium spot. Also Ross and Henry as well, making 2, obviously having really good battles most of the race, until Ross unfortunately went down in the turn 10, the very tricky downhill off camber chicane. So this track's a lot more flat, as Ross does just took the front as I was talking about him. But this track is very flat. So, well, it's very flat until you get to the last sector where you've got the uphill horseshoe. So just starting their first flying laps now. Harrison Day, Ross and Tom. Bit of a train going on here with the what was Harrison Day just closing in on the brakes. Zach actually on board the Aprilia this race. Done actually pretty well last race for the Yamaha. Yeah, didn't make too many mistakes, and hopefully we can see Zach up there more in this race on board the Aprilia. There's a lot of traffic here now in the mid sort of section of the track, with Tom and Ross actually looks like holding up Harrison just a little bit. Harrison just trying to make a pass on Ross there to try and get past. He does slide up the inside, sits Ross up, but does get past clean enough to come down to the very, very steep downhill turn 10, the Kevin Schwantz corner, and then coming into the very tricky turn 11 and 12, the left and right up horsepower hill. Oh, he just takes the front. Very bumpy on entry into that corner. Got to be so light on the front brake to make sure you don't tuck the front, as Harrison just showed us. Zach is the first one to complete a flying lap with a 1:54.1, and Willie just behind him with a 55.1. So everyone actually, there we are. So George 52.1, Caelan with a 53.2, Henry with a 51.4. A lot of big difference in times here at the moment. There's a yellow flag in sector 1 with Zach just running wide into the gravel. I think Harrison Day actually gone down again in turn 4. But Caelan's gone down as well on the KTM, so nice and safe rejoin there by the KTM rider. So George actually in P2 on board that Honda, making a 52.1. So a pretty competitive time for the Honda so far. But Henry's on the red sector 1, does not stop here. He's actually on board the factory Aprilia, so but his lap is invalid after does just fell out of the track limits as Finley's just gone down to turn 7 as they come into the stadium, well, coming out of the stadium section. Tom now, can Tom improve his time? He's done a 57, I think he did crash on that lap, so can Tom jump to the front row on board the factory Ducati? Oops, someone just gone down in front of him. I couldn't quite see who that was. It was actually Ross, so the fellow factory Ducati man has actually just tucked the front. Well, I say tuck the front, I'm not quite sure, but that's the most common crash in that sector is the front, as George is just coming into the pits now to get some more fill. So is Ross, maybe get some more fill, change the tyres. Caelan's actually entered as well, so Henry's just coming in as well. Looks like someone else is too, so it seems to be a lot on Harrison Day, so it seems to be everyone's just coming in at the same time to splash and dash, as Tom has actually stayed out. So Tom has a clear track to try and improve his time, which he has actually set a better time on the front row, just in front of Caelan, 7 thousandths of a second faster. As George now is just exiting the pit lane. So is Caelan. Oh, someone's gone down. Tom. So Tom, after he's actually improving on his lap time, unfortunately gone down, just coming into the stadium section. As Ross and Caelan do exit pit lane together. So Caelan's just very late on the brakes, had to absolutely slam on there to avoid hitting the Scotsman. Just runs deep into the gravel. It looks like Henry and Harrison are side by. Well, Harrison's very wide and he's hit the wall. But it looks to be Henry's trying to give Harrison a tow to bring him up the field a bit more. Tom was also just slowing down, getting out of the way for, it looks like, Zach. Yeah. Well, Zach's improved in Sector 1. He's only 2 tenths off of Ross, so definitely room for improvement. He just comes up Horsepower Hill now into the penultimate corner. Turn 13 as he flicks it. Oh, he's just coming into pit lane, so he will, does actually crash into pit lane, so Harrison, Henry, and it looks like George. Oh, nope, not George. Oh, he's actually tucked the front. Just coming onto the start finish. I can't tell who that is on the KTM. I think it's Kalen. So there's Kalen. Ross is just coming across the line now to start another flying lap. See if he can improve. As there's 2 riders coming out of pit lane, just getting out the way for him. So can Kalen will have enough time to start another lap. There's Harrison and Henry again, just together on track. Oh, someone's just gone down. It looks like Zach has unfortunately gone down, and that is his qualifying session over. So all these lads left on flying laps. Oh, Zach's gone down again. Do have enough time for one more lap. Because Willie is actually... So Tom does come across the line, does not improve his time. Kalen and Ross also improving their times. You see Ross now just coming around the final corner. Can he jump onto the front row? Yes, he can. Oh, he does jump in front of Tom. Kalen is also on a lap. Just coming into... Oh, he just takes the front in the penultimate corner on the KTM. So that is his session over. He does start from 5th place. So we do have Henry on pole, George in P2 making a brilliant qualifying session on the KTM, and Ross in 3rd. Henry and George actually a lot faster than everyone else at the minute. Maybe some issues, tyre issues and stuff. Maybe the other lads will soon see in the race. George actually making very, very good qualifying, well, doing a very good lap on the Honda, only 2 tenths off Henry on the Aprilia. Very, very good performance from George. Hopefully he can convert in the race. Obviously the Honda, like I said earlier, on paper is probably the worst bike, but you've got to be a certain type of rider to to know how to ride the Honda, and I know George is a Honda man, so this seems to be suiting him well. So So we do come to the start line. We have Henry Mack on pole, George in second, and Ross rounding off the front row. Lights are on and the lights are off. Henry had a brilliant start. Down to turn one. So we do look back. George actually does hold on to second from Ross. Kalen seems to have dropped back down to 7th place. So coming to the turn 3. So Ross has someone's gone very wide into the Zach, and Kalen's also gone down. So Willie making a brilliant start up into 5th place. There's Ross now, he's just on the back of George. Can Ross make a pass? Henry has pulled away about a second already, so Ross is very close to the inside curve. Harrison also looking to get at the inside. As Tom looks to be seen to making a pass on Willie in the background. Nope, yep, Willie's very wide, but Tom will have the run. But Willie does dive back up the inside. Will run deep, will hold the inside line. Nicely done there by Willie. Tom will have the run. Can Willie fight back? Oh, he's just looking at the inside and does actually make contact with Tom. Tom has actually stayed on, and I don't know what the hell happened there. A lot of crashes happened there. It looked like Ross went down. So Harrison actually is inherited P3. I think Henry's made a mistake too, as George is closing in 6/10. Oh, as Harrison D's just gone down out of P3. So Tom does actually jump back into P3. All kinds of stuff going on in the early stages of this Czech Republic race. But yeah, I think Henry made a mistake on that lap because George closed in an awful lot. So Ross now trying to hunt down his fellow MLD rider Tom. As George is right on the back of Henry again. So I think George is bearing some. Oh, Henry's gone down. Henry Mack has actually just gone down to to the stadium section in turn 8. So left-hander may have tucked the front, as George is actually leading this race. Oh, it's just very, very sideways. Coming down into the Schwantz corner, turn 10. This also does give Tom and Ross now to try and hunting down. Kalen's actually having not the best race in 8th place. Willie's just gone very wide into the wall. Seems to have broke himself. That will allow Finley through and Kalen. Oh, Willie's gone down again. So that will allow Zach through this time. And back at the front, George has actually just had the fastest lap of a 51.9. Brilliant race lap there by George on board the Honda. The not very competitive Honda, so working his magic. Oh, Harrison D just crashed again. Out of 5th spot. I think he will hold on though for the gap. No, just lost 2 places to. Oh, Henry's crashed again. Henry's just crashed into turn 2, a left-hander again. the front end there seems to have been. As Tom and Ross do pass him now. As we see a little battle forming behind as well, with Finley, Kaelan and Harrison. Kaelan now trying to look to get Ross. Finley's just gone very wide into the gravel, and he's unfortunately gone down. So Kaelan does inherit P5. We go back towards the front now. Henry still trying to squeeze his way past Ross. Ross did run a little bit deep into Schwann's corner, and Henry did gain a tenth or two. He's not close enough to pounce just yet. Can he look to give a dry up horsepower hill and ultimate corner? They're also catching Tom as they're doing this, so as George does come over the line to start lap 4 out of 5. Caelan's just gone down into turn 14, so the penultimate corner seems to be catching everyone out. Someone else has just gone down behind him. Zach, it seems like Zach has actually just gone down as well. Excuse me. So Henry now looking to make the pass on Ross. He's looking at the inside, very close there. Ross is shutting the door. Great racing from these two so far. Ross Finley's unfortunately gone down again. Oh, Henry's just on the inside of Ross. Can he cut back underneath? Yes, he can. Lovely pass there by Henry. Absolutely brilliant. Couldn't have made that more perfect and more any cleaner than what he already did. So he's already pulled 3/10 away from Ross as his sights set on Tom. To the tricky corkscrew like corner. Henry's actually made a lot of time on Tom, so Tom's actually now going to defend these two, as all George has to do is just hold off for one more lap and still have a very, very comfortable 5-second lead. So is Ross now trying to look to get back past Henry, as Henry does set the hazard lap for 51.6, as Henry's closing a hell of a lot on Tom. Well, Tom seems to have got a really good drive out of there, but Henry's was better. Coming up the inside now to turn 2, can he look up the inside? Tom just outbreaks him, as Henry's just sat him up. Tom will look back to the inside. He does run a bit wide. Henry will have the run. Tom Kaelan's unfortunately gone down again, as Tom's back up the inside. Ross is also looking to go round the outside of his fellow Ducati rider, and he does hold off. Ross can still attack. Henry now just riding extremely defensive to hold these two boys off. Tom now trying to dive up the inside of Henry. Can he? No. Henry just shuts the door on Tom's nose. Lovely attempt there though by Tom. So these two boys only have a couple of corners left to oh, Tom's just sideways and he's unfortunately gone down. So Ross has also run deep as well. So the pressure does actually get to Tom, and he is unfortunately dropped into turn 10, the Kevin Schwantz corner. But as we turn our attention to these two boys, I don't think Ross is close enough to have a go. But George, what a race by George on board the Honda. probably the worst bike, one of the worst bikes on the grid maybe, on paper. And he does come across the line to win here in Bruno. Henry, after an amazing comeback ride in P2, Ross in third, and unfortunate fourth position there by Tom after running in second place for so long. After a mistake, but it does bring the bike in fourth. Hasn't actually just crashed in the penultimate corner, well, over the line, and that does take place, and Kaelin does take sixth place. Zach comes home in seventh, Willie in eighth, and Finley will come across the line, sliding in ninth. So, brilliant race there by all the boys. George taking a win on board the Honda with a 51.9. Henry with the fastest lap with a 51.6, and Ross rounding off the podium for here in Brno. So, you know, just wait for all the lads to change bike for the final race at Catalunya in Barcelona in Spain. Right, so just wait for the lads to get ready into the last race of the night in Catalunya. Obviously, George working wonders on that Honda, so if he carries on, well, after that good race by George, he might impress some of the Honda bosses and maybe can snatch a contract. But we'll all have to wait and see. Right. So, just received the information that the lads are ready to rock and roll for the last race of the night 2, Tryout Group 2. So, Kaelin seems to be on the factory Ducati. Let's go through the lads' bikes. With Zach on board the Ducati as well. Finley's actually on the Pramac Yamaha. Ross is actually on the Monster Yamaha. Tom's actually on the Monster Yamaha. Willie's actually on the VR46 Ducati. I think he's the first person to go on that tonight. Henry on the Trackhouse and George on the Grassini. So, and Harrison on the Grassini as well. Just wait for all the lads to complete their outlaps and start their first flying laps. Catalunya, not an easy track, quite a difficult track to absolutely master on this game, but definitely one of the better tracks once you can master it. So who's first on track to set start flying lap? Looks like Tom. Just coming down to turn 1, hard on the brakes. Oh, he just took the front into turn one. As I think Caelan's actually just took the front just in behind him. Looks like, yeah. So Caelan and Tom both tucking the front into turn one. As who's coming in behind them? Look like Zach. So Zach is actually gonna be the first one on a proper flying lap without a crash. So Caelan and Tom's lap actually not invalid, but obviously with the crash. Oh, Zach's actually gone down as well. So, oh, there's someone in front of these lads. There's actually someone else on. I think it's Willie. Yes, Willie Sham. So Willie is actually the first person on a flying lap. So, don't think he's gone down yet. So, what can we see Willie do on the Ducati? He's come to a very, very tight turn 10. Where that's where most of the accidents happen, most of the mistakes happen. Obviously, very hard and late braking from 170 miles per hour to 60 is a very, very hard braking point. He just comes around the final corner to finish his first flying lap. What can Willie set? We'll set a 1:39.1. As Harrison Day is actually red in two sectors, so is Henry and George. Everyone seems to be just on orange, so Willie does top the timesheet so far. As Tom comes across the line with a 43.6 after his turn one mistake. So does Caelan. So Zach also comes across the line after his first flying lap with his mistake. So as George comes into the final corner now, as Henry has set a 36.743, so good first lap there from Henry, but what can George do? 39.2. So there's a 10th back from Willie Sham. So Caelan on board the Ducati. Theoretically the best bike in, well, one of the best bikes in real life, and by name, by team, by nature, not necessarily on the game. As he just touched the front into the turn 10 we were talking about just now. That just pulls out the way for Zach. Nicely done there. Henry's actually on another flying lap, but he has not improved in the first two sectors as Tom comes across the line to jump to second place with a 38.4. Henry's actually going red sector in sector 3 as he's improving on his 36.7 lap as George is just behind Finlay, I think. He's actually in two grey sectors. He had to absolutely get the anchor out. And has unfortunately clipped the back of Finlay and received a long lap penalty for impeding. So making contact in qualifying does result in a long lap penalty, unfortunately. But Henry does come across the line, does improve by almost 2 tenths, a tenth and a half. The 36.641. So very, very competitive lap there from Henry on board the Trackhouse Aprilia. Ross is actually red sector 1 on board the Yamaha, so was Henry. What can Ross do on board that factory monster Yamaha energy team? Oh, he's absolutely sideways down the turn 5 Repsol corner. Lovely stuff there by Ross, lovely bike control just to get that Yamaha absolutely sideways. Just comes through the turn 7, absolutely sideways again on the power, so Ross absolutely pushing the limit on this lap here into the fast turn 9, down into the tight turn 10. Also Henry's just sat behind him on 2 red sectors. Ross out of control again, so Ross must be absolutely pushing the limits here. Tom comes across the line to start his next flying lap as Willie's just pulled into the pits. So So is Ross now just coming towards the final corner. Can he jump in front of Henry? Has he made enough time up on these last seconds? Don't think he has. Runs a little very wide onto the green. Does improve by 3/10, and Henry... Did Henry improve it? Don't think he did, no. I think Henry actually made a mistake there on his lap, but Tom is actually just sat in front of Harrison Day, looks like. Yep, it's Harrison Day. Finley's just coming into the pits now. So Kaylan is just behind Zach. The two Ducati men actually next to each other on track and next to each other in the standings. Oh, Zach has just gone down, and Kaylan's, I think he had a big moment on the front end, so does actually save the front. There's a lot of traffic going on behind you. It's Henry, Ross, I think Willie Sham as well, yeah. So it's Tom now just coming round the final corners. Can he jump in front of Ross onto second place? Does improve, but not enough. So it does move out of Harrison Day's way. Down to turn 1. And that's Harrison by to start his flying lap. So come across the line. I think Henry's just pulled out the way for... Oh, Zach's just received a long lap for irregular pit entry, so... As Ross is actually just pulling out the way as well for Willie Sham, as George is actually just coming round a final corner to... oh, he just clips the grass on the inside. It's actually still a valid lap. I'm not sure what's going on there. Maybe he's run out of fuel. I think George ran out of fuel. So we're just coming to the last few seconds of this qualifying session. So Henry's just received a long lap penalty for smashing into Harrison Day in the gravel trap for no reason. So Henry does actually just penalise himself out of, I don't know what to describe that as, but Zach's actually moved up to P4 now, so Zach has had an incredible lap somewhere. But that looks like it is the end of your session. I think we are just waiting for Willie, Sham, Harrison and Henry to finish their laps, because Henry's just hit into Willie Sham again. Willie now just doing a bit of short shifting into over the line. So, as we do come to an end in this qualifying session, we see Henry on pole, Ross in second with Tom in P3. The two Yamaha boys rounding off the front row, with Zach making his best start yet in P4 in front of his Ducati rider Kaylan. So So we do wait for the lads to ready up and we can go racing. For the final race of the Tryout Night 2 Group 2. So Henry on pole once again, taking his third pole position tonight with Ross, the two Yamahas on the front row. Zach making his best start so far in P4 in front of Kalen on the Ducati as well. Willie just in front of George. Well, there's a Ducati lockout in the mid-pack, and then Finley on the Yamaha and Harrison Day at the back of the grid on the Trackhouse Aprilia. So Henry does have a long lap penalty, so this could be the two Yamaha boys' chance to actually pounce and take advantage of the race, with Zach and George having long laps as well. So having to serve them or take the 3-second penalty is gonna cost them. As Harrison Day has just had a jump start, so he does receive a long lap penalty too. So off the line, Henry did get a really good launch, but Ross is up into second place as Tom is absolutely diving up the inside and takes Ross out. So after having two really good qualifying sessions, well, having a good qualifying session, two Yamahas on the front row, Tom's actually just taken them both out. So Zach is now up into P2 after starting from 4th in front of Kalen. Oh, he's actually just run wide into the gravel, and he's unfortunately gone down. So that does promote Kalen into P2. And Willie into P3. So Finley now just on the back of Willie after starting from the back of the grid. Brilliant start by Finley. As Harrison now just looking to make his way past Tom after that mistake into turn 1, taking him and a couple of other riders wide. So Henry's game plan, not sure whether it'll be take the long lap, try and serve it, or just try and pull the 3 seconds. I think as Finley has actually passed Willie, so I think Willie's made a mistake actually, because George has got past as well. So can George just slip past Finley? We do start lap 2. Henry has actually pulled now a 2.3 second gap, so if he can hold this gap or maybe gain some more, then it'd be okay, but he does choose to take the long lap. Oh, Kalen's just gone down, so as Henry was taking the long lap penalty, as Henry absolutely perfects that long lap penalty, that's going to be the best long lap I've seen on this game so far. Kalen's actually just thrown his chances away at a win, as Henry did take his long lap. So if Finley is now up to second place, George just running really wide in the background. Oh, unfortunately Zach's gone down again after making a brilliant start. But Tom and Ross now just trying to make up as much positions as they can, up into 4th and 5th after that first corner incident. Oh, Kalen's gone down again, so after being in second place just half a lap ago, he has unfortunately gone down. Harrison's picked up another long lap penalty. There's Ross has just gone up the inside of Tom and unfortunately made contact. That does send him wide. As Kalen is now AFK. Harrison Day just gone down again after picking up another long lap. So George on the back of Finley. Can he get the drive down the start finish? I assume he can on the Ducati versus the Yamaha. Down to turn 1, Finley just pushes him over onto the dirty part of the track. Down to turn 1, can George stop that Ducati? Yes, he can. So nicely done there by George. Can Finley fight back? Unfortunately, Harris Day's actually just gone down again, so he has got 2 long laps and he's crashed quite a few times. So he's in, well, Caelan's in last place because he's AFK, but Harris Day's actually last place on track at the moment. There is a little group forming here now, from Joe back to Ross and Tom. I think Ross and Tom are actually catching Finley, so can they make some time up with Finley and get past a fellow Yamaha rider for the final podium spot? Oh, well, he's just gone down again. Oh, Finley just very wide, just clipping the curve and then just bouncing across the track, clipping the gravel trap, but he's actually stayed on the bike and not lost too much time to Ross, but Ross is within fighting range now. So coming down to turn 1, Finley does look really late on the brakes. Did run a little bit deep, but managed to get it stopped quite nicely. So Ross has gained a couple of tenths now. Can Ross get past Finley up into the very long right-hander, looking to go up the inside, but Finley does break a little bit late. Does Ross just cutting in on the inside? Finley does give him the room. Can Finley attack back into the downhill hairpin? No, he can't. Ross just tucks the front. So Ross, again, Zach's also gone down as well. So Ross again, just unfortunately tucking the front. He's sideways into the hairpin, as he has been every single lap in qualifying. And unfortunately has tucked the front. And that gives Tom now a chance to make some time up on Finley, and hopefully we'll see a battle going on here. Tom's actually gained a significant amount of time over the past 2 corners, so I think we'll see Tom have a bit of a go now onto the last lap. Harrison Day is also AFK. Oh, has Henry just gone down? Henry Mack has actually just crashed into turn 1. Is that enough time for George? No, so Henry's actually pulled a big enough gap to comfortably crash and still have a 2.5 second lead. So I think we'll see, yeah we will, so Tom and Finley battling it out now for the final podium spot on the penultimate lap as George has just gone down. So that will give Finley and Tom the chance to take second position. So as Tom's just clipping the inside curve, so they're only a couple of tenths up in front now, as Henry's actually just lapped someone by the looks of it. Yeah, I'm not quite sure who that is. Harrison Day actually just getting out the way for all the lads. Thank you, Harrison. But no, that does give these 3 boys a chance to make some time up to George to try and snatch second place. Oh, Henry's crashed again! So Henry has just crashed again, giving George... Oh, George went down again, so obviously Henry had a big enough gap to just come back out in the lead. Zach's gone down again, as Tom's just slid up the inside of Finley. Henry's crashed again, so Henry's just crashed 3 times in the space of 2 corners, or 3 corners should I say. So it's this amazing battle now. George is right on the back of Henry. He's looking to take the lead into turn 1. They're 3 wide coming down to the turn 1, 3 Yamahas. Finley is actually just dove up the inside, just setting Ross up. Oh, he's unfortunately gone down. So after making contact with Ross, just braking a little bit too late, he does unfortunately go down. But George now has a chance at a second win here in the Night 2 Tryout Group 2, as he's just trying to sneak back up the inside of Henry Mack. So Henry just shuts the door just in front of him. He is on the curb. Just coming down to the downhill left-hander. I think Ross and Tom are having a bit of a battle here as well. I think Ross is might be able to hold off for this one unless Tom can make some time up down into this hairpin. But is George going to have a go? Henry's absolutely sideways. George seems to be very wide. George losing a lot of time there. But Ross actually just gaining 2/10 into that final time into the hairpin. Just coming around the penultimate corner. Henry just keeping the bike nice and straight. Down to the final corner. He will take his second win tonight on board the Aprilia, with George in second, Ross in third, Tom in fourth. That's an amazing battle with Finley and Ross, with Finley coming home in fifth, Willie in sixth, Zach in seventh, Harrison Day in eighth, and Caleb in ninth place. So, as the lads just come across the line to finish the Catalunya Tryout race, with Henry Mark taking another win tonight on board the Aprilia with another fastest lap, with George taking another podium on board the Ducati, with Ross in third, Tom in fourth, Philly in fifth, Willie, Zach, Harrison and Kalen rounding off the grid. So, after them amazing 3 races tonight, we did see Henry take 2 wins and George taking 1 win on board the Honda, with multiple podiums by different riders. So, thank you all for tuning in, and hopefully there will be some more news to follow on contracts and calendars. So please make sure you keep an eye on all social media at MLD Motogp Esports League on Instagram and this YouTube channel that you're currently watching on. So thank you all for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.